has been a shift in the last really in the last few weeks, but even in the last few days that has a lot of optimism around around his return to the organization this season. Now, how does that come to be? Is that him eventually getting the vaccine? Is that the team opening up the door for him to play in road games and to play and practice at to be able to practice at home at the HSS training facility as well as playing on the road. And
Nets Nation, it's your boy AJ. It's Nets Kingdom. Welcome back, y'all. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification. So there's a lot going on in Nets world today. It's a ton of news. But we'll start with this. Now, the breaking news: the Brooklyn Nets will be down at least 7 players Tuesday night as 4 more players go into COVID protocol. As you guys know, Paul Millsap went into COVID protocol on Monday. Now it's LaMarcus Aldridge, James Johnson, DeAndre Bembry, and Jabon Carter have entered the safety protocols. Now, it says here the Nets will have only 10 players available versus the Raptors Tuesday night at Barclays, 2 above the NBA minimum. Moreover, the Nets also announced that Kevin Durant is questionable with right ankle soreness. As Bobby Marks of ESPN reports, the Nets can apply for hardship exceptions that would permit the Nets to add up to 3 players for the Raptors game tonight. Then it also says once players enter the league's protocols, they must quarantine for 10 days or until they return 2 negative PCR tests within a 24-hour window. Moreover, the Nets players will now face daily COVID tests, so others could also wind up in the protocols. And then also here, David Duke Jr., Kessler Edwards, Day'Ron Sharpe have all been called in. So we finally have gotten the COVID bug, y'all, and this has been going around the league and the NBA, and people thought, that since the NBA was, 90% vaccinated, that it wasn't going to be a big deal, but it's really hitting the NBA hard. I mean, we've seen the Sixers go through this with the COVID. We've seen the Bulls, had 6 or 7 players. Literally, they couldn't play because they had so many players were in COVID protocols. So it's like, now that it's actually hit home and it's hit us for Nets fans, it is kind of like alarming. It's like, man, this might, affect, because like you said, we're only a few games. We might be a game and a half ahead of the Bucks, maybe 2 games. So it's like these games still matter for us to keep this first place lead. So this is quite concerning. If we have players going in from quarantining for 10 days, and players that have contacted COVID, they got to quarantine for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, multiple players, this could really affect us going forward, keeping that number 1 seed. And this is, it's concerning, but we just got to work through it. It's just how it is today in today's age. We just got to work through it. Multiple teams have gone through it. We've seen, I think, Ja and the Grizzlies go through it. We see a lot of teams are going through it. So we have to get through it too. And it has to be next man up mentality. As for KD ankle soreness, we'll see if they activate him tonight, but he might not play. So we'll see what happens with the Raptors tonight. Now, with this other news that broke, the big news, if you guys want to know about Kyrie Irving, Shams have renewed optimism with Kyrie Irving's return. We saw the report yesterday about Shams saying there's new optimism on Kyrie Irving returning. Let me read what it says here. It says it remains unclear whether Kyrie Irving's potential return this season will come via vax to meet New York City's COVID requirement by Brooklyn opening the door for him to play road games and practice at home. But sources have indicated a renewed belief that Irving could play this season after all. So to summarize what Shams basically said, he basically said that there is renewed optimism that Kyrie may return. He's been talking a lot with Kevin Durant and coaches and players that want him back. And there has been, talks of him actually playing away games or him returning to the team. Now, it's just funny how this comes out when we get into like a COVID outbreak on our team. It's just funny how now Kyrie is the optimism of Kyrie coming back is just automatically here, And I just find it funny how that I was on. If you guys don't know, watch if you watched the other streams. I was on the Kyrie Irving away game train since the beginning of the season. I was saying we should play him away games, away games, away games. But people were turning me down. They're like, no, it was not right for the team. He can compromise the team. He can. He's unsafe. He's gonna have to play at separate lockers, or he can't even join in the huddles and stuff like that. I'm like, and now that our team, and now that not just our team, the league is breaking out in COVID, vaccinated players are getting COVID, vaccinated players are getting quarantined and protocols. Now that all it hit us, now it's like, okay, all the narratives of Kyrie Irving compromising our team, compromising the health of our team with not being vaxxed is just stupid now. It's just the narratives are getting killed. The narratives are getting killed today because we are hit by the COVID protocols. And with Kyrie, it's like all that we wanted in New York. This is why the mandates don't make no sense, because Kyrie could practice out. The reason why I said that I want Kyrie to play away games is because he can practice at home. He's allowed to practice with the team when the team is at home. He just can't play in Barclays, which doesn't make no sense. He can play in the Brooklyn HSS Center, and in the away he can practice, ramp up while the team's at home, and then away games he can play in the games. So that's why it kind of seemed like, all the talk about Kyrie being a part-time player. I'm like, we have part-time players right now. We have Paul Millsap who goes in and out the lineup every 1 or 2 weeks. We had Nicholas Claxton miss 16 games and come back and ramp up. There's players in the league, on the Bulls, on the Sixers, missing 2 or 3 weeks because of quarantine and then coming back and ramping up. So you're telling me those are not part-time? Those are not part-time players? Like, Kyrie could be a part-time player in that case. And I think about last year, our team was so literally part-time. Our whole team last year was riddled by injuries. It was just part-time. They were part-time too. The coaching staff had to adjust with the lineup, just like the coaching staff has to adjust tonight with the lineup of people being out. So it's like the difference between Kyrie being a part-time player and last year is like, we're basically saying Kyrie has the whole non-vaccinated thing, which is a political thing. People see it as a political thing, like, oh, we don't want him to play. It's just giving the unvaxxed people rewards, or no, it's not any of that. It's just, we just want weekly testing. Everybody should get weekly testing. There should be no divide between a vax player and a non-vax player. It should just be weekly testing for all, because we can all get COVID at the end of the day. So there should be no divide. And that's just my thing with Kyrie Irving. So now that we see the news that Shams reported that he's, on his way back. Well, not on his way back, but there's optimism that he may return. It's just eye-opening. It just proves to me like these mandates are just, I don't know. It just makes no sense to me. It makes no sense with these mandates. It's just New York I'm talking to. Everybody else in the other states, it's normal. But in New York, these mandates don't make any sense, at the end of the day. Kyrie Irving hasn't been with the team since summer training camp, and now we have a COVID outbreak with multiple players. Well, multiple players and protocols. So it just shows you that the New York has to change this. New York has to change its weekly testing for performers and athletes. Letting Kyrie play in the Barclays does make sense. I'm saying? Now it actually makes sense. So let me know in the comments how you guys feel about tonight's game against the Raptors. Let me know how you guys feel about Kyrie coming back. Is this Shams report just, making us feel good? He didn't say too much about anything. He just basically said there's optimism. Kyrie and KD have been talking. Does this mean anything? Is this a illusion, like, ooh, Kyrie's coming back, but we really don't know? And how do you guys feel about the COVID outbreak with the Nets? Is this going to affect us going forward? Are you guys worried? Are you guys concerned? Tonight is going to be basically the rookies, Harden, and maybe KD might sit out too with his ankle. We don't know if KD might sit out. So it really might be Harden and the rookies, and a few players against the Toronto Raptors tonight. So let me know what your concerns are with going forward with this new COVID outbreak. Let me know about Kyrie in the comments. Do you guys think that Kyrie should be activated in the away game train? Are you guys on the away game train, just like I was on the away game train? Are you guys cool with the away games now? Now that we have our season might be a little, we don't know if it's compromised, but it is concerning. We don't know who has COVID. We don't know what's going to go forward, who has to quarantine for 10 days, who's going to get a positive or negative test. We don't know. We're just in the loop right now of trying to figure out what we're going to do going forward. So let me know in the comments how you guys feel. Make sure you hit that like button. Follow me on Instagram. I'm actually blocked on Instagram right now, but still follow me. Nets Kingdom 711. Follow me on Twitter, Nets Kingdom AJ. Tune in for the stream tonight. We'll be streaming. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Love y'all. We go hard. I'm out.